Alright guys, welcome back. So, I just recorded a whole 20 minutes that I am not going to use. So, I went off topic. But today I want to talk about, I want to talk about you guys, the listeners, something I've noticed. And I haven't been on here in a while, guys. I'm still trying to analyze a lot. That's not the only reason why I haven't been on here. It's just one of the reasons. Partially I'm drained and overwhelmed and also went on a little vacation. And also partially I just sometimes I take breaks from stuff. I was taking like some mental health breaks in the last, it feels like it's longer, but it seems like I haven't posted anything since like March, which is about a month ago. So I have posted, even though I feel like the days kind of blend together for me, so it feels like it's been longer than it has been. But I have been recording, so some things I've noticed that I wanted to talk about that pretty much excited me, like, to no end. Like, I thought it was really cool that the majority of my listeners are it's like over 50% American, and then a high 30 percentages of people from Thailand. So that's really cool. I was really excited to see that. Also a little sprinkle from like Germany and the UK and like Brazil, and I see you guys out there. But yeah, the overwhelming majority is from the US and Thailand. And cool, I'm cool with that. I would love everybody to be tuning in, honestly. Like, I'm not like saying like that I have like preferences. I'm just saying I think it's really cool. So to all you people out there from Thailand, hello. I don't want you guys to feel shortchanged or like I'm not addressing you. But I haven't really addressed this at all. I haven't really addressed anything. Most of the things I address do tend to be Western culture, American Western culture, and not only that, my experiences living in Southern California. It's not necessarily like everywhere else in the world. The weather is good here, I wear shorts mostly all year long. I'm not wearing shorts today. I'm actually cold, and it's April. I'm actually cold because it's gloomy out, and I don't know what's up, but it's gloomy out, and that's weird. That's not normal for this time of year. Usually we're in spring and sunny days, and then we do get gloomy though. It does get gloomy actually April, May, maybe early June, and then it just gets really hot like July, August, September, October. So somewhere in October is where the weather usually changes for us. But it doesn't change so significantly, honestly. It's like decent weather. Like, I could go to the beach today still, even though it would be chilly, and it's been overcast all day long, but I could do it and it wouldn't be that terrible of an experience. But yeah, one thing I noticed, guys, that I just want to mention. So if there are people out there who haven't done this before, check out YouTube. Type in Tomboy. See if you get the same thing that comes up that I've noticed. And I've been doing this for like maybe a couple years now. And one thing I noticed, which is cool, that I've never mentioned, is that I noticed that there are a lot of Thai videos that come up, and it's like kind of entertainment type videos. Not so much, I haven't seen so much like documentaries or so much of like vlogs or YouTube creators on there, but I've seen more of like small, like short films, indie films, episodes of shows, movies, short movies, things like that. And I think it's cool. I always thought it was cool, but also I haven't really delved like so much into it. As you guys know, I mean, those of you who listen on here, I work full time, and the job I have is quite demanding. So usually when I go missing or when I'm not posting, it's because I'm just exhausted. I deal with people's health, physical health, mental health. There's a lot of need out there right now, especially during the pandemic, and now with the vaccines out where we live, it's really kind of overwhelming the healthcare system. And so we're getting a lot of people in need right now. The appointments are needing to be adjusted, and some of the doctors' offices are just like canceling appointments left and right. And these are like people with diabetes, people with arthritis, people who need pain management, physical therapy, and pain medications, and psychiatrists and psychiatric medications. And like, this is all being impacted, and it's coming back on us, the workers, who do case management and other sorts of work like that. We're getting really just bombarded lately. So I'm noticing too, I'm hardly having energy to do fun stuff like record. And the recordings I have made, I mean, I'll post them. You guys will hear. It's a different tone. I'm kind of, just like dealing with a lot of, I think I posted some stuff I've recorded some things about vulnerability and shame and anxiety and all sorts of topics. And usually when I get into those topics, it's because I'm kind of seeing, a trend like out in like social media that is coming up a little bit, or it's just me experiencing it and I just have it on my mind. It's on my heart. I want to talk about it. Where better of a place to talk about it than on my own podcast. So I mean, like, I don't know if it's even appealing or entertaining or helpful to people. I hope that you guys don't think I'm like constantly just like depressed and anxious. I have a really cool support system out here. I do meet quite a few trans people, a few non-binary people from time to time. I have friends who identify as such, who present as such. Some people are, I don't like saying in the closet, but some people aren't openly out about it. And I get it, there's still... it's a personal thing. It doesn't matter even if there's still prejudice or even if there's still, a comfort level that people have or don't have. It's up to you if you want to share that, and it's up to you if you want to keep that to yourself. It's a very personal thing. Who am I to say when it's best for somebody to talk about that kind of part of their own self? I always, feel honored when somebody decides they want to tell me, and almost especially when I barely know them. But something that, I mean, this isn't really the topic I was going to talk about, but something that just kind of, I don't know, it kind of, I don't want to say it hurts my heart, but it kind of, I just feel, deeply about when somebody tells me, oh, I'm trans, or, and I usually hear two things that people usually say in combination with that is, asking like, is that okay? I hope it's okay, or there's another kind of response that's more like, I'm telling you this because I'm comfortable with you, and that they don't, they're not out about it to everybody. And that's kind of them saying like, I want you to know this, but, I don't want you to share this with people, and I get that. And I get both perspectives being expressed by people, but I always just find it, it's interesting to me, because there are those of us that don't really have to say that to people or feel that we have to ask, are you okay with who I am? Are you okay with how I identify? Can we even hang out and start being friends? It's kind of like, I don't know, it kind of hurts me to think that there are people that get rejected because of who they are and because of how, when they express to somebody how they identify or how they authentically feel, they have experiences of being, shunned or shut away or cut off. And, that is terrible. It's really terrible. But one thing I have noticed, like I was saying, when I search for the word tomboy, I see a lot of Thai videos that come up, and I'm just gonna guess that that's a term that's used in that culture. That's a term that's used in that culture, but I'm wondering also if it's the same as like a non-binary person or a trans person, or like I'm wondering if it means exactly the same thing, like the same way we use it in the US, because I feel like it seems a little different. It feels more like it's a different type of expression. Like, I feel like here, when you use the word tomboy, it's kind of like fleeting. It's like you can be considered a tomboy, but it's not like a permanent thing. Like I mentioned, it's usually, I've usually seen it from like young kids ages, preteen ages, teenage ages. And when people start getting to college age, I don't think I usually see people being called tomboys too much. When people are like, starting their careers and things like that, I think people would say something like, oh, that's like a masculine presenting female or androgynous person. But I feel like tomboy is kind of like a younger term. I could be wrong. Maybe it's just where I live. Like I was trying to say in the one that I recorded previously, the last time someone called me a tomboy was maybe like 7 or so years ago, and that person was also not very familiar with people with different types of gender expressions, and did have beliefs that homosexuality in general, which isn't necessarily the same thing as your gender expression, that's more like your sexuality, but I know this person believed that according to their religion it was sinful, wrong, you shouldn't be gay, kind of thing. I don't believe that. I think you're naturally who you are. Who am I to say otherwise? Like, what do I know? I don't know everybody's authentic self. I only know what people tell me or what I can assume by how they express themselves. I don't know. I don't know between you and your creator, or you and your, however you got to this planet. I don't know how that came to be and what was originally intended. I do believe that we limit ourselves often in the words we use and the ways we choose to identify ourselves and the ways we actually authentically feel like we are. Sometimes those aren't always the same thing. Sometimes we and I'm not like shaming people. I mean, if it's not the same, it's not the same, If you express yourself one way and authentically feel a completely opposite way, that's fine, it is fine. I feel for people because I know a lot of times there's a lot of pain there. And so that's why I feel a certain way about it. Not necessarily because I'm judging it or saying like, you need to like come out and like be who you are, screw everybody else, like there's danger there sometimes, there's discomfort there. You have every right to choose what you want to do, the way you want to do it. There are some ways that, could be recommended. Usually Western culture views do usually say, okay, get yourself to a place where you can be independently yourself and come out and, create your own support families, create your own friendships, create a healthy environment for yourself, and don't try to, stay in the unhealthy environments. But that isn't everybody's view, and that's not everybody's, course of action, and that's fine too, but just because here people really do say that kind of thing a lot, and I do find it encouraging if somebody wants to do that, but I don't feel like people should have to feel less than, or like, oh, if they're not out, then they're like, or if they don't identify as a certain way, or if they've never said those words, or if they never dressed a certain way, or if they've never done any type of androgynous type of thing, or anything that was kind of from the gender they were oppositely assigned at birth, like in your records, or born with what genitalia, you know, I don't think I have a place to really tell anybody what to do. But I'm here to, talk about things that I'm noticing, it's just, I'm noticing people really gravitate towards when I'm talking about gender and anxiety and dysphoria. So I'm guessing there really is a need for that kind of content, and that there are people who are searching for those, that content. So I'm definitely going to post more about those topics. And again, I don't want things to be so heavy so that I'm always sounding like anxious and depressed and like fearful and, I recorded some things about shame and some things about vulnerability and some things about anxiety. The majority of that stuff I haven't really posted yet, and you'll probably hear in my tone and through the content that, sometimes I'm going through things and it's on my mind, it's on my heart, and I will post about it, but, I try not to like bring people down. I hope that it doesn't come across as like, oh, this negative energy, and let me like talk about this only in a way that's gonna like tell you like what everybody else, around says about like all this negative stuff. I feel like we do that enough to ourselves, and we hear that enough around us, that I don't really want to be that voice that's being negative. But then also I don't want to avoid the negative emotional kind of experiences that people have, because that's not realistic either, to just be like, oh, let me not talk about that because, it's not happy sounding. But I do believe in vibrations. I do definitely believe in, positive energy, like a kind spirit, kind of like upbeat. It does rub off on other people another way too, in a way that, it does help with healing too, but also, a balance of, talking about the negative. And I'm not really the kind of person who's always like, oh, let's see the bright side of every story. Let's look for the positive, answer, I do believe that's helpful too, but I'm not one to really want to ignore things. So if I don't feel well, I don't want to, I'd rather process it and not feel well and get to a place when I feel well, rather than I don't feel well, let me ignore it always. Like sometimes I'll ignore it, and then I'm trying my best to not really ignore it so I can work on things. And so it actually, when it goes away, it goes away. It's not like something that's like, I'll avoid it until it just pushes down and then it'll come up again. I'm trying to like work on things. And with that whole process, I get very drained. I get very overwhelmed, in addition to the work that I do, that I get paid for. That's my full-time job. So I really do feel that, I really do feel that, I want to post things that people want to hear, that people are actually listening to already, that people are actually searching. So I'm doing my research on that end. I actually took like a count. I have about, including this, I'm going to have 15 pieces of material. So, that I need to post. And I'm considering doing two every week. So that'll take me into June. I think so that'll be May 30th. I'm not saying this is going to come out on May 30th. I don't really know when I'm going to post this, but I have that much content that I don't post. And I just went back and I saw, okay, I've posted at least consistently since November 2020. I've posted at least one thing a month, usually about 2 things a month. on average, maybe 2-3 on average. And then between like June and November of 2020, I didn't really post anything. It doesn't mean I didn't record, I just didn't post anything. And I think it's because that's when, I started a new job May of 2020, and then I started the new job May of 2020, and then I started actually taking on clients like around the 12th or so. So I think that's when, like near June 20 something, I was pretty pumped up because Pride was that month, but 2020 was a rough Pride. 2020 was a rough year. I think I'll gender post I made, I'll have to go back and look at this, but I think the initial gender post I made, which was like the first podcast I posted, just called Gender, I think that came from my YouTube channel that was Tomboy Official, and I just had this idea to post it, and I think I posted during June of 2019. That's what it feels like. I feel like I was in 2019, and then maybe a whole nother year, and then June 2020. I don't know, but I feel like it wasn't just June 2020. I feel like it was before that, because I feel like it was the last year we actually celebrated Pride in groups and as parades and, around in the city was 2020. And I feel like I did post something near then, or maybe I created something and never posted it. I don't know. Because I feel like during June of 2020, I don't know why I wouldn't have had more time. I was still adjusting, definitely. More things were way more shut down. And Pride Month is like, I look forward to that all year for June. And also like May and July, I have other festivals that are near then. And it's not just about the festivals. It's just about, being able to be around with my friends, and it's always a new experience. It's always a good time to reflect and see like, oh, like how far have we come? I remember the first Pride I went to, when I still wasn't like super sure about like myself and how I identified. And I just was like still pushing things down, and I was never really like open about things. And I remember the first Pride I went to was with my friend and her mom, and I think her mom's friend, and then we happened to meet another friend that me and my friend had known from like elementary school, but we kind of kept in touch online a little bit, and I think they went to the same high school together. So this was like maybe it was late in college. I think it was after college, but we went in the daytime, and because my friend's mom, we all decided we'll leave later. So I remember I drove out and met them, and then, we were all there together, and we just kind of left at the same, because I feel like we got rides. I feel like they gave me a ride home. I don't remember. Honestly, maybe I met at her house and we left from her house. I can't remember now. Because I feel like I met them in line, but then also maybe that didn't really happen. But anyways, we got there early. There were no real lines. There was a little line, but I think we got there when they were opening. And there were like some booths around and stuff like that. But, I was in there for the party, and it was fun, and we had a good time. And yeah. I remember I made a comment about somebody, one of the performers or presenters, and I was like, look at him, he looks really tall. And then I think the mom thought that I was making some derogatory statement or something, and tried to like cover it up, saying something about that person. And there was a guy who was, I think, was bald, wearing heels, makeup, and I could see from like a distance, but it was a really tall person, and that's basically what I was just like, whoa, they're really tall. I don't think I really cared that they were wearing heels. It didn't like bother me. And I mean, I don't mind guys wearing heels. I think it's kind of cool. And guys wearing makeup and stuff too. That's pretty cool to me. And yeah, I mean, I've dated trans people. I've talked about it openly. I'm kind of interested in someone right now who's trans. But I don't want to talk about that. And it's not because they're trans I don't want to talk about it. It's just because I don't want to talk about it. But, let's see. Yeah. So, sorry. That was a lot of me just, like, thinking. Sorry. I feel like oh my gosh. I feel like that was, like, 10 minutes of, like, dead space. I apologize. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so tired. I'm so sorry. But what I was trying to actually talk about, I can't possibly make this round 2 of recording this thing. I need to just get it out. Let me just focus. One of my friends in grad school, I probably talked about this before. We had a sexuality class, and my friend did a presentation on the topic of Kathui. And that was the first time I heard about that term. A lot of times in Western culture, we say like ladyboy, things like that, but I don't think it's the same thing. Like, I don't know. Okay, so I can tell you what I notice, and then what I think is actually kind of more accurate. So what I notice is, I'm not bashing this kind of interest or anything, but I feel like the term ladyboy is often used in Western culture by a lot of times Caucasian males who have maybe like a fetish for ladyboys in Thailand. When they go to Thailand to visit, there's like a market for, people who were assigned male at birth, born with, male genitalia, that have in some form transitioned either only externally or in other ways to female or very female presenting. So that's something I've kind of heard about. Sorry, there's like a cop kind of cruising over here. I get really paranoid about cops for obvious reasons. So yeah. I know the touristy side of things, of people who are looking for sex workers. And then there's also, there's a term, I don't know how to pronounce it and I'll learn, but it says fooing, that's kind of something that people refer to themselves as more often if it's a person who is a transgender woman. And so and then Kathui, I don't know if that's always used in Thailand. But it says, who identities in English may be best described as transgender women in some cases, or effeminate gay men in other cases. Those things aren't necessarily the same thing. I mean, a trans woman can be a straight woman, a heterosexual woman, but they're not cisgender. And an effeminate gay man, if someone's effeminate, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're trans. But if someone's effeminate and gay, that kind of applies more female presenting in some ways, at least. Maybe, mannerisms, like the way they talk and move and things. That would be considered effeminate. And then gay, meaning that they like men also. So it seems to be a term that's a little confusing in a way, because it seems like when it's referring to females or someone who is assigned, I don't want to say, it doesn't, I just say females. Like if it's a non-cis female that's presenting as feminine, or an effeminate gay man, so it's kind of like feminine, a feminine term. And it says transgender women in Thailand mostly use terms other than Kathui, such as Fuing. And then it says that from the Thai culture, this term Kathui can also mean or be related to trans women, intersex people, and effeminate gay men. So there's a lot of range of this word. There's a wide range of this word, but I think that primarily the ladyboys are usually trans women, or males that are presenting themselves in a very feminine looking nature, even if they might not identify as trans. But I do believe it's usually trans women. And I live in the US, Southern California, so we do have a lot of diverse options of things to, see and go do. I would say I honestly don't know much about, culture as far as like Kathuis and, Fuing, around in the neighborhood where I live. And it's possible maybe that people aren't outwardly that way, or maybe they are and it's not very noticeable that they're that they've transitioned, or that they are dressing in a different way. That's possible too. I have seen people, I don't know if they identified specifically as Kathui or Fuing, I don't know, but I went to a Thai festival up in Hollywood a few years back, and I do remember that there were a lot of monks there too, and I remember they were taking pictures with the people. I don't know what those people labeled themselves or how they identified. I just know people were taking pictures, and these were people that were born men, born with male genitalia, and then they transitioned. I don't know if it was only in my mind. I thought it was only for that event. I didn't really stop to think about, is this someone's authentic identity, and they're presenting this way because this is how they identify, and this is the kind of clothing that they like to wear, that they love to wear, or it's their traditional clothing, and they want to look this way, or maybe they look this way all the time. And then the monks were taking pictures and things, which was something that I wasn't sure if it was like not staged. I don't think that's the right word to use, because this was like a whole section of like Hollywood Boulevard blocked off for like, I don't know how many, I don't know if it was like blocks or miles. It seemed pretty long. It was a Thai festival. It was a cultural festival. They had different foods. different dancing, a lot of events on stages and things, or you can just walk around and see the little like booths with the shops and like the different things you could buy. There were like vendors and things like this. And there's a huge Thai population there. There's a huge Thai population where I live. I'd say there are way more Vietnamese people than there are Thai people here, but I do see Thai temples around with monks around on occasion, and they tend to build or create, I don't know if it's even considered a temple or a monastery or what it's considered, honestly. But I just assumed it was a temple because the people who lived there looked like monks. And I've only seen them built in like residential neighborhoods with houses surrounding, where in some cases I've noticed there are other people with like the orange robes. So I'm assuming they kind of live there. It's like a site where people live and where they worship or where they serve the community. And I think it's really cool. The places where I've been like that, I've never been like indoors, but I've been there for professional reasons, mostly to find my clients. And there are people just kind of out and about. Like, it's in the daytime. It's like middle of the day because I'm like looking to talk to my clients or meet them. And I haven't encountered too many people who speak English. And I think they serve homeless or, people. I don't know if it's a place where people mostly volunteer or where people who need something from the community come over. But I've noticed it's usually in a neighborhood that's like very highly concentrated with Thai people. And, I'm not saying anything against it. I'm just saying, like, those are the places where I've usually seen the monks at. And other than this festival, I've seen monks around, but it's like, I've never seen them necessarily in the robes, like in stores and things, but I've seen them in those environments where it looks like it's a temple, or where it looks like, or if there's like a festival going on, that's like a cultural festival, I've seen them there. But the other types of people, either called Fuing or Kathui, I don't know if I've seen them around. The people I saw around at the festival were wearing traditional clothing. Some of them had, let me look at the pictures, because I remember I took some pictures too. But I just found it interesting that so many people were taking pictures. And I think how do I get back to Facebook? I think the way that the reason why I'm quite confused is maybe because I don't have anything to compare that experience to. So for me, like, say something that would be like a festival, a type of cultural festival that I would attend would be like a pride festival. And I don't think I've necessarily seen people just walking around taking pictures with trans people at the festivals. Now, I have seen people taking pictures of maybe like go-go dancers, or, like maybe there's like some kind of BDSM, exhibition, or different kind of people with like fetish culture, or different kinds of things with like maybe different flags, or like there seem to be places where you would be able to comfortably take pictures of someone, and it seems like that's the appropriate thing. Like, they want you to take their picture. I've taken pictures at Pride with some YouTubers that were there, and I saw them taking pictures with others, so I just, tried to get my picture and got one. It was really cool. I got a picture with Eugene from BuzzFeed at one of the Pride festivals, maybe like, I don't know if that was 2018, 2019, somewhere around there. But I feel like, it wasn't like everyday people that you're just, walking around taking pictures like, oh, like, look at this person, like, they seem like they're trans, or look at this person, they seem like they're a gay guy, like, I don't know. Some people, I think maybe they'll take pictures when someone has like an outfit that's like interesting. But for the example, at the Thai festival, when there were the people dressed, I guess if we want to call them Kathuis, I don't know if that's even considered a derogatory term, or, you know, if I just should say maybe trans women, that were there. I remember they were wearing traditional garb, like traditional type of clothing. And I'm trying to find the picture to see, like, if they had, like, some kind of crown looking, some kind of a crown on there, or I'm trying to see here. Sorry. I got distracted by my friend who posted Happy Kamar New Year. I guess it would be pictures? Sorry guys, I don't even know how to use Facebook. You gotta be kidding me. I haven't been on Facebook in ages, and now I don't know how to, like, look at my pictures. That's embarrassing. Where are my photos? Dude, I need help, guys. I need help. I know I have a picture. I just don't know how to get to my pictures now. So I'm just kind of struggling here. Okay, if I click on myself, and then if I just keep scrolling, I don't know where my pictures are. I don't know how to get to my photos. Maybe because I'm not on Wi-Fi. Is that like a thing, guys, that I can't look at my photos when I'm not on Wi-Fi? I want to say they had crowns on. I want to say they had some type of a headwear, or, you know, I don't know if it's even called a crown, honestly. Wow. You guys, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find my photos. I'm sorry. But I do, let me see. If I can just look this up. Yeah, so, because the pictures when I look up pictures, it doesn't seem, I mean, these people seem more like they're dressed in, like, ball gowns, you know, like, formal attire, but it's not necessarily traditional. But I honestly thought, when I saw the people at the Thai festival, I'll say trans women, you know, I thought that, you know, because I saw the monks taking the photos with them, I kind of thought that, you know, maybe it was like a spiritual, gender-related reasoning, like maybe it was, I definitely knew it was cultural, but I was thinking, you know, maybe it's like that, you know, the ideas about gender are, like, okay with the spiritual crowd. Because, I mean, I'm just trying to, like, I'm not, you know, I'm not trying to be offensive. This was kind of just, like, in the back of my mind. But, you know, I can't imagine, say, Pride, right? I can't imagine LA Pride or San Francisco Pride or any of the prides, you know, that I've been to, where there would be maybe people that were priests and nuns and, you know, taking pictures with trans people, taking pictures with gay people, even wearing their religious or spiritual attire in an environment like that, and taking pictures and being supportive, and, you know, or like having a cross around them, or dressed like a bishop or something, where they're clearly like church clergy, and then they're kind of like taking photos in a way that's not like, you like taking pictures from a distance to condemn somebody, but like taking like selfies, like, you know, like taking fun photos together. I mean, I just think that was just a beautiful experience to witness. I don't know if those people, if those trans ladies, if the trans women wanted people taking pictures with them, but I did notice a lot of monks going from different ones of the women taking pictures, and like, I don't know if they were tourists. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I have no idea, but they didn't seem ashamed or like they were trying to shun people. And I'm really just interested to know more because, I know that, if the word Kathui or Fuing refers to, trans women or effeminate gay men, I'm interested to know, in Thai culture, how that differs from maybe like transgender or, someone who might have been called a tomboy or who calls themselves a tomboy, or a non-binary person, or gender, like an androgynous person, or non-binary person. I just wonder, because it seems different to me from what I've seen with YouTube and what I've seen with, the trans women in Thai culture, the ones that I've seen either in public or on, videos. I just find it interesting. Like, and if there's such a large population of the listeners who are maybe from those populations, or maybe, they would definitely know far more than I will know. I wasn't raised too much with a lot of, like, I'll put it this way. Like I mentioned, we share a city. I live in a city with a lot of people. I live in Southern California. There's a lot of diversity, but it's segregated diversity, if that makes sense. Now I've never lived in an area necessarily that's highly concentrated with like African American and Black people, but I've lived in neighborhoods where pretty much every neighborhood I've ever lived in has not been majority Black, but I've been in neighborhoods that were majority Latino. Now I'm in a neighborhood that's majority Vietnamese. I've been in neighborhoods that were, majority Japanese, Korean, Caucasian. I've been in different environments, but, I kind of try to absorb what's around me, especially if it's readily available and around. Just what I've noticed is, the people who are locally in the Thai culture, other than the food that is very easy to access and very delicious and amazing, I don't really see a lot of maybe too much mingling that I've seen, like with the LGBT culture, in like the American LGBT culture out here. I wouldn't say none, but I would say it's not like there's like a strong percentage of like Thai culture in the cities, like at the center and at different places. And I don't know how I feel about that, like, cause it just seems like, if, you're going to go to a cultural festival, right? It's like, I'm just thinking, okay, say, for example, if there was an American festival in Thailand, right? And the Americans come out because there's American communities around. People from the US fly out there. It's in like a major city in Thailand, and this is like an annual thing, and it's pretty huge, and we have maybe American style, like Western, like boxing with the gloves, and maybe like, I don't know, like extreme sport X game exhibits, and, burgers, and, different kinds of like meals around, and it's American looking, and there's American flags, and American clergy comes out. I don't know if there'd be a lot of pride tents around, or a lot of like homosexual groups or LGBT groups. Maybe the center would show up. I don't know. But I'm just thinking about it, how it's like, I don't know if in American culture, if there was an American festival, if you'd see like a lot of trans people there as like a part of the American culture, like an identity of American culture, which is interesting to me. And so I feel like it is something completely different. in Thai culture. I don't know what it is yet, and I think it's cool. I think I like what I've seen. I'm not saying that there's not discrimination all over the world. Maybe I'm just, seeing things from another perspective and not noticing the discrimination yet because I haven't looked into that. But I do know that a lot of people are searching dysphoria and anxiety and things like that. So I am guessing that, there is still the same amount of, the discomfort and, the anxiety, those kind of real deep kind of, distressing type of situations going on. If the majority of the people viewing are from Thailand and from the US, it seems like it's the people from the US and from Thailand that are searching more the dysphoria and anxiety topics. But I am starting to learn more, so I'm just trying to put that out there. That, I might need to be pointed in a direction or just browse around and do my own due diligence. And, I need to ask people questions. I need to, try to find out more, because I do find it interesting that I hang out in a lot of very gay spaces. Like I mentioned before, I meet trans people often. I don't know if I meet a lot of Thai trans people. I don't know if I meet a lot of Thai people in general. But I know that there's a large Thai population where I live. Not as large as like the Latino population, not as large as like the Vietnamese population, or black or white. But I'd say maybe the same amount as like, let me see. Maybe the same, maybe a little less than the amount of like maybe Chinese people. There might be more Chinese people than Vietnamese people where I live. But I don't see it. I don't really see it where I live. I think, honestly, where I live, there are more Vietnamese people. Down the road a little more, I think there are more Chinese people, like, over in another part of town. But I live in a predominantly Latino and Vietnamese neighborhood, with some Caucasians and black people kind of sprinkled in. And there are, like downtown and like, which is still kind of near me, there are some Thai temples around, but I don't really see a lot of Thai people mingling in LGBT spaces. And I'm not even talking just like trans. I'm talking like, like cisgender people too that are Thai. And I meet a lot, like I'm saying, I meet a lot of different types of people. But most of the people I meet tend to be Latino, black, or white, or some kind of mixture of, mixed race, mixed ethnicities, some sort of a mixture. So I don't really understand, I'm just kind of talking out loud. This is how I kind of learn. This is my learning process. I talk myself through things and try to figure out like what it is. Like, I'm not trying to compare different cultures, but I'm just trying to observe and like look what's around me. What am I noticing? What am I seeing? What am I not seeing? Are trans people, are Thai trans people not comfortable hanging out in LGBT spaces with Americans? Are they discriminated against? Are they not allowed or felt to be allowed for some reason? Or are they there and maybe, I think they're Latino? I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't honestly see a lot of different Asian LGBT people, even though I know they're around. Maybe it's not okay for their culture. Like, maybe they're not taught that it's okay to hang out either with the Americans or with, that might not be true either, but I'm just thinking out loud, it's kind of just interesting to me that I'm seeing these different things around me lately, and taking time to reflect on things too. But I just do find it interesting because I live in an area where there are Thai people around, and it's not like I don't see them. It's just there's not a lot of interaction. I put it that way. Like I know exactly, like, the block over so there's one turn to get to my house. If I go the next block, there's a Thai temple there. Like right there. Like it's not a block from my house, but it's like maybe like 3 blocks from my house. So it's, I see people around. I know kind of what's around me. I'm observant of kind of like what's going on, but it's hard for me maybe when I don't interact with certain people to get to know them better, because I really like to interact. I just also don't like to be intrusive and just like showing up, just like, I like authentic friendships, not just like I want to be your friend so I can learn because I find you interesting. But I mean, I just want to know, like I'm curious to know like what the differences are, if things maybe aren't acceptable, because there's a lot in LGBT culture, in trans culture, in American culture in general as a whole, there's a lot of taboos and like prejudices against things. And then, coming into the country as, a minority, coming into the country as, maybe first generation, second generation, third generation, and facing the discrimination that most people already face when they're a minority as it is. And then add on top of that, a gender identity related, kind of, authentic, situation going on, or even LGBT. And I don't know how it is in Thailand, but if someone's coming over here, it just sounds really, challenging maybe. I mean, I'm guessing it's challenging. There's I wish I knew the name. So Indonesia's not too far from Thailand. There's a small series on this, man, I wish I knew what it was called. But it's a small series about these 2 gay men, well, one gay man and the few people that he dates, and kind of like they're talking about their experiences. And it's like, there's like, I think there's like a bathhouse. I don't know what it's called in other places, but like kind of like a bathhouse situation where it's like, there's like sex rooms or like saunas or spas or whatever they're called in different places sometimes too. But it's for like sex and things like that. And these are like younger guys. They're like early in their careers, probably in their 20s and 30s. I think there was a guy like in his 40s too. But yeah, this isn't even Thailand I'm talking about here, but I'm wondering if it's similar to that, if there's like, actual stuff there, like clubs and, I'm gonna have to really look it up, because my only real interaction with trans, Thai trans women was at the festival, taking pictures, watching others taking pictures. And again, like I mentioned, they were wearing like traditional looking clothing. And I don't know if they were there for the festival from out of the country or if they lived there locally. Hollywood has a lot of Thai people. That's where this festival was at. It's not like it's not in a diverse area. Everyone knows about Hollywood. All kinds of people live in Hollywood. But I'm just wondering, why is there not a lot of visibility here where I live? Even maybe because there's not a high concentration of people from Thailand, but it is one of the major populations around where I live. But like online, when I search certain words, I see things right there. the majority of the content on YouTube seems to be, tomboy, maybe trans, maybe androgynous, things like this. And then in my neighborhood, I don't really see people, but maybe there is a lot more kind of, I don't know if you call it like blending in, or I don't like saying like passing, like when it comes to gender, but I know sometimes I have to just use words that people will understand. I don't know what another term is for like passing, like, but maybe the people I'm seeing are passing, and I'm just like walking around the neighborhood not even really noticing. Because some ethnicities, some races have certain features that, you can kind of cross over one way or the other more easily. Like, you can look masculine and you can easily look feminine with certain types of features. Like, you would either look kind of like, okay, say for example, for the Westerners out there, the Canadian comedian Mae Martin, Martin, Mae Martin, she's a female born person. She was born female, female organs, has short blonde haircut, and she's kind of really slim, really small. And she could either look like a young blonde boy or a small blonde female. So I think sometimes like smaller features, you can kind of look either like a younger male or like a woman, like a female, like a woman. Like, you'll look more, versus if you have more like larger features or more muscular features, you might be more likely to look male. Kind of like there are some female athletes that do look kind of more masculine. I think I look kind of more masculine in a way. I got misgendered on getting on a flight coming back from New Mexico. The airline attendant, I thought they called my group, and he said, "Sir, like, we haven't called your number yet, sir," kind of thing. And I was like, okay. Or like, I notice sometimes when I go to certain shops, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on here, but when I go to certain dispensaries, weed dispensaries here are legal, and sometimes I'll go there and they have to wand you down. So for the males, they don't wand you down. Sorry, for the males, they wand you down with like the metal detector wand, and with females, they don't even do that. They just ask you for your ID, and then if you have anything in your purse, they might want to look. I don't carry purses, so I just show my ID and walk in. Otherwise, there have been times where they've started like wanding me, and then they just, oh, you're female, and so they just kind of stopped. But I mean, I look like a younger guy maybe, but I mean, I have developed like hips and breasts and things, because, I've gained some weight, and now my boyish figure is now a womanly figure. I am kind of curvy compared to what I used to be, but I can still, I still wear kind of like oversized clothing sometimes too, so I'll look a little more, on the masculine side. Like, I look like a younger masculine guy, kind of on the, like wider side, wide, WIDE. But yeah, and I keep my hair pretty short. I wear a lot of like hats, fitted like kind of baseball looking hats, or a beanie, or if I have a hoodie, I'll sometimes put the hood up. I don't get called sir very, very often, but I get called sir. Like, it happens. But I don't really know. I mean, I'm not, I don't know what I feel about it. I'm kind of like, okay, But, I don't know. I have trans friends, I have trans crushes recently. Kind of a pretty huge one. And, yeah, I just think it's just an interesting situation to have come up. just looking at the statistics, I'm like, who's out there who's listening, if anybody? And I find this joyful nugget that the majority of my listeners are from Thailand. So that's really cool to me. It's really motivating me to learn more and try to connect dots, connect more with the people, and connect the dots of just kind of these questions I have about my own community, where I live, what's going on with the visibility, out here, I'm just wondering. I'm curious, guys. I'm curious about it. So, I want to know, if there are any of you guys out there in San Diego or LA, we might come across one another somewhere. So I'm still not really at a phase where I'm really putting my face on stuff, but I'm out there. You can find me, but I don't like to say too much because I'm a bit paranoid, in all honesty. Like, I wouldn't say that I'm out to everybody I know, and the people that I'm not out to, I just don't really want to deal with that. Especially with what I'm posting, it's kind of personal in a lot of ways. Not too personal if it's people I don't really know. Like, I talk to my close friends about these kinds of things. Like, I can talk to them about it, but there are people that I don't really want involved in this part of my life too much, because they just don't really seem to get me in general. I'm very, some people might not even know that about me, but I'm very kind of specific with who I share things with. But for some reason, I'm just pretty compelled to at least talk on here how I do. But I do think I could be a little more open about kind of put my face on stuff or whatever. But I mean, it's not completely hidden. You can kind of find me around on the interwebs. So yeah, guys, all you guys from Thailand, man, that just made my day. Seriously, it did. Keep sharing, if you guys like this stuff, share it. I'm just winging it, and I'm sorry. I know this is messy. I'm off topic a lot. I'm just kind of daydreaming sometimes. This isn't the best of quality of podcasts. I'm certain of that, and I know, and I do appreciate all of you who sit and listen to all these things. I'm going to try to do better to, cater to the people who are listening now that I have the data that I've kind of gone through. I'm going to try harder to, look into stuff that you guys seem to be interested in, and try to capture more of the authenticity of the people who are listening, because if you guys are putting in the time, I can put in the work. It's just I don't know where I'm going with all this. It's new for me. I'm still learning how to be open about some of this stuff, and so it's and doing it on the internet, even though I'm glad it's a small population of people listening. Of course, I'm putting in time doing it, so of course I want there to be listeners and viewers and things, but I just I'm very shy too. I'm a very, 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 very shy person. Not in a way that I'm not social or that I don't interact with people. I'm just really shy, and I've talked to counselors before, and they're like, oh yeah, you're reserved. And it's yeah, but I don't share everything with everybody. I kind of wear my heart on my sleeve, but I don't really share a lot of my deeper emotions and thoughts and experiences. I'll share those things with the people that I talk to on a regular basis. And if it's, usually if I haven't seen someone in a while, or if we're not hanging out, I'm usually not sharing these types of more intimate things with them. Like I mentioned, I did post something about sex. Or no, I didn't post. Well, I posted one thing about sex, but in that episode, I think I mentioned that I had recorded maybe 4 or 5 different, or maybe 3 or so different longer recordings about different sexual topics that seemed a little too personal to post, and I was so glad that I didn't post it. I was like, oh my gosh. And I went back and I was like, oh, I can't post that. I can't post this thing about like porn or whatever. Like, I'm not gonna post this. Because I do have to consider that I do have family and friends close to me that I don't really want to share some of this stuff with. And so just that's the main thing that keeps me from posting certain stuff, is because I don't want them all involved. There are some people that I like involved in certain personal parts of my life, but when it comes to that kind of stuff, I don't really like talking to too many people about who I date or who my interests are. Like, that kind of stuff, I usually save it for people that I actually like to talk to about that kind of stuff, who I find supportive. I don't just like share it with everybody. So there's that. But all right, guys, I gotta go get dinner. It's almost 7:30 p.m. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being there. I'm gonna try and stay here with you guys, and I'll keep posting if people are still listening. I see the numbers going up a little bit, so I want to try to see how they're going up and why and where. So I'm interested, to keep posting things in a way that is beneficial for people, and not just, just kind of randomly just ranting and talking about whatever's on my mind, which is fine, but I feel like if things are going in a certain direction, it might benefit all of us to go in the same direction versus just for my mind to go in its own direction. So, let's see. But, thanks all you guys. Have a good night.